Well, hello everybody. So we are going to continue on with our rotoscoping. In this case, we're going to add a new little wrinkle here. We're going to add in a second mask. So let's start off by making our new composition from footage, and we'll grab our rotoscoping 2 example. That should be in your D2L folder. So the idea here is that we're going to rotoscope out both this green bus that's sitting out there at the beginning. It only starts to move slightly when I think the whole frame moves a little bit. You see the whole camera shifts slightly. But then what we'll do is, as soon as it starts to move, we'll follow it out like so, right about there. And then this bus that comes in after it, we'll have this one come in as well. We'll start around here, and we'll work our way back. And then as it comes in, we'll also have that. So instead of the sort of knee-jerk reaction, we'll say, well, we have 2 different cutouts. Let's put 2 different copies of it. That might not have been your first inkling, but in this case, we really don't have to put more than one. We can actually, let's scoot out a little bit until we see both of these guys here. We'll sort of, let's do this number here. We'll start it right there. So let's take a look at this. What we'll do is we'll, first off, let's create a new solid. Just color it whatever you'd like. In this case, I might choose maybe more like a pinkish color because we have 2 sort of bluish things, or maybe more like an orange color again. It's up to you. Let's do my go-to. Okay, press OK. Pull this down. Okay. All right. So let's real quick show you the beginnings of this. Essentially, what we're going to start off by doing is creating a mask over our bus here. So make sure we have this selected. Actually, what I'll do is I'll Control-D, duplicate this. And so on the upper one, I'll just mask out this bus right here. Let me make 2 little points for the wheel. And then hold on the Alt key. Remember, we do that, and we have 2 little angles. We have a little angle right there. I held down the Alt key and scrolled upwards with the mouse to zoom in some. And then right there. And then up here. We can sort of scooch this in, curve that a little bit, and then we'll just pull this out like so. You can hold on the space bar as soon as you click the mouse button to move it around before you start. Okay, so there's that mask, and I'll go ahead and activate the keyframes for this one. Mask 1, mask path, right? And I'll just press U on the keyboard just to have that sort of showing up there. And then I'll go over here within the same thing without touching anything, and I'll create a new mask. So we have a new mask pop up. Mask 2 pops up here. So I'll go ahead and sort of mask out this bus here, sort of a trapezoidal shape, more like a blocky shape like this. Okay, there's that. I'll just sort of scooch it over here, and I'll animate this path as well. And then I'll press U on the keyboard to have those 2 show up. Okay, so with this done, you can kind of see that now we've got these 2 things masked out, and they can move independently of one another because they're 2 different masks on 2 different keyframe tracks. So it's the same deal as before. In this case, I'm going to move backwards slightly just to key out this bus here. I might move back, say for instance, all right, cool. So let's see how this looks. Let's pull this in. That looks okay. Looks okay. Bob's a little bit here, but that's fine. All right. Okay, so with that done, we can sort of go back a little bit here and see just the moment that the whole screen moves. So let's pull this back up to visibility. So there's a moment here where the whole screen sort of shifts a little bit, right about there. Everything kind of comes a little bit out of the way, so let's just. Okay, I'm gonna come to the point right about here. It's like 1 second and 49 frames. I'll make a little keyframe here for mask 1, and then I'll just move it a little bit further until it sort of stops there. This is 1 second and 24 frames. I'll make another keyframe for mask 1 here, and I'll just sort of double click on this and sort of drag this to where it needs to go. Okay, that's good. And so it sort of follows along. That's good. Okay, and then I can just come back here. It starts to move again a little bit. Right about there is where it begins to move. This is 0 seconds and 57 frames. A little keyframe there, and I'll just scoot backwards a little bit more until I find where it sort of stops to move. And I'll just shift that backwards. And that's about right. Oh, and it's a little bit different at the very beginning of the frame too. maybe there's some wind blowing and it's sort of blowing the camera a little bit, jostling it slightly, just to keep that all in line. Okay, let's take a look at this so far. All right, great, cool. All right, so there's that. Okay, so now it's the same thing as before. Now we just have to move throughout the frame and mask out the rest of the buses. So you can start with mask 1 or mask 2. I think it might be easiest to start with mask 1 since it doesn't move very much. So I'm just going to start, I would keep going until it starts to move. Right about there is where it begins to move. So this is right about here. This is 3 seconds and 59 frames, so it's almost 4 seconds in. Oop, don't block it. Little keyframe there, and then we'll just go through it. So I'll speed this up like I did before, and then I'll go back through. I'll discuss what kind of went down with mask 1, and then I'll go back through and I'll mask out the second bus, and we can talk more about how that all kind of transpired here. So let me just go. Okay, so let's pause here for just a second and take a look with this little thing here. Now, notice even though it necessarily change, this is a pretty uniformly shaped bus. It's just a rectangle with the little tires down there. Because it was getting closer, because the angle is so extreme, there were several moments where the proportionality between the distance of the tire from the front to the back was a little bit different, and we saw a little more detail and stuff, and there's a few things that the whole thing gets bigger as it gets closer and stuff, so all those things need to be taken into account. And the very, very end here is a little bit trippy here. Let me see if I can. So now we've got the second bus, and I'm going to challenge you guys to finish this up by rotoscoping this bus out. So I think the last keyframe that we put in together was right here at 2:09, and the very last time we see this guy is, let's look here, let's pull this back up. It extends out to, say, for instance, about 9. So once again, I suggest that you start off by going maybe every half second and putting in a new keyframe here. So I'll go here to 2:30, and we'll just sort of double click on this, drag this forward, extend this out. It doesn't change shape much. And then as you get closer, the details of the tires are going to become a little more apparent. So you're going to need to add more keyframes as it comes through, because you don't want to have a whole lot of the background visible here. Yeah, right. So just go through, like every half second and start into this. And I would say right about here at about 3:30, 3.5 seconds in, this is where you want to start adding in those details of the tires and stuff. It's going to be a pretty simple, effect here. In this case, the front of the bus is going to stay one sort of size, and then you're going to have to start taking your anchor points here and dragging these down like so. Right? Okay, and then in this case, getting real close and add some keyframes. Remember, we use the pen tool to add our anchor points here. So I add 2 here. You want to start curving them in as well. So if you want to curve them in, you can go over here to the Convert Vertex tool, and you can sort of just start kind of adding in just gentle curves to fit in the tires here. And then just go back to your pen tool, and you can start moving the little anchor points around some. All right, very cool. All right, neat. So here we go. We're starting to see these kind of form. And then, like I said, just go through every half second, add a new keyframe, and then double check it with the background, take it away. And what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to kind of go through and just sort of fix any errors that you find. So cool. So like I said, this is about 9 seconds here, so you'll have about, like, I would say maybe 18 sort of adjustments to this, and then you go back through and you tweak it. And then once again, File, Export, take away the background, and then, File, Export, File, Export, and then send to the media encoder, and then export from there. All right, so I want to see both buses totally cut out on this new background here, and whatever color you want to put in there, that's up to you. All right, very cool. Can't wait to see you guys produce. See you in class.